Back in early June, at Fluxx Studios, just off of 4th Avenue, near downtown, gender was art. Gender identity is a subject that, until recently, has remained mysterious. For many people, there is no question. What they see when they look in the mirror matches the person they are on the inside. But for some, the outward body image doesn't correspond with the way they feel inside. Like many things involving our hearts, minds, and spirits, gender identity for each of us can be a part of a very wide spectrum, and expressing the myriad of emotions involved in embracing one's gender identity takes many forms. M. Bowen, a local blogger and activist, brought together a group of great local artists to display their own interpretations of and journeys through gender identity.
Okay, so this project about 2 years ago was something entirely different. It started off as a little joke between a good friend and I. We were sitting in my living room, and we were kind of talking about like these anecdotes for childhood, kind of the things that made you think, like when you came out and everyone was like, "You're gay? What?" And you're like, "Are you kidding me? Like I wore protection boots, I walked around without a shirt on at 57, you know, things like this." And in particular, we were talking about this story about when I first got my haircut. My hair right now, I've had this for about 8 months. I have had long hair my entire life up to then, so I'm so afraid to be mistaken for a boy again. Now I guess I don't mind so much, it's kind of what I'm going for. I like to see the face of the shop from the backwards, so I go to this restroom, the double face, things like that. Anyway, so my grandma actually took me to get my haircut. I tried to call my mom before, my mom didn't answer, thank God. She probably would have gone for it. I don't know if she's here right now, but she might say otherwise. There she is. And I remember getting my haircut and like just being in the car being like so excited. I'm like, I can't wait to look in the mirror. And I got home, went to the hat rack, pulled out the hat on, put it on backwards, and I walked over and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I look awesome. And it's stories like that inspired what was originally called They Should Have Known, meaning they should have known I was gay. At that point in my life, I was identifying as a lesbian, and I was heavily connecting gender identification and sexual orientation. When honestly, I didn't even know what all 4 of those words meant at that time. But over the course of 2 years, we've seen this change and evolve, and all of a sudden, there were artists involved, and all of a sudden there were people who were willing to be on stage, and all of a sudden there was a space. And so that's kind of what it's come down to now, is this, and it was all kind of by chance and evolution. And we have a great lineup tonight. We have all this amazing art on the walls by, we have the photographs by Richard Castillo, the multimedia by Bernie Somoza. And then we also have some artwork by as well. And tonight what we're going to do to start this off is we're going to have about 5 different readers coming on stage. We're going to be either reading poetry or doing sometimes spoken word. The kind of the point of this project.
The earliest part of my understanding of being queer actually really made me afraid, and that fear made me come out fighting. But there's a good fight, and there's a not so good fight. And so, and that comes out of what exactly it is that you think you're fighting. And in my case, there's fighting an idea because you think they, the mainstream, privileged majority, are wrong. And then there's fighting an idea because you are so afraid that they're right. And I did a lot of that when I first came out. But now, I feel like I don't have to fight because I'm afraid of who I'm not. The work that I'm making now, as a whole, is about endings and about beginnings. And all of those things that happen to us repeatedly, or that we need to do or be repeatedly. About how those repetitions relate and resolve to each other, and about how an ending is really a beginning in disguise.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Dr. Mrs. Patricia. Can you all hear me all right? Is this all right? Yes. Excellent. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to see so many people here for tonight's lecture, what I expect will be educational for most of you. This evening's lecture is titled Gender, Mediation, and the Annihilation of America, Americans, and Americanism. Now, please, let's take this audience as an average cross Here we can see evidence already of the confusion that results from gender deviation. We have women wearing pants, we have men wearing breasts, we have that. Gender confusion in contemporary culture is devastating. I'm sorry, it's very dark there. Is devastating the natural order. It is destroying us culturally, economically, globally, physically, environmentally, systemically, empirically, sanitarily, and personally. That's right, this is happening to you. Yes, you, right there, you. Not me, my gender is fine, but yours. The question is, why the sudden movement away from the whole dichotomy that serviced mankind so effectively since the dawn of time, when the pole was removed and used to fill the hole in creation by creating Genesis 2. The movement away from this simple morality is clearly the result of widespread pop culture, handing the pulpit over to pop icons like this Lady Guru, or this transvestor known as Peaches, has taught our children, and I quote, "I want your psycho, your vertical stick, and this is love. Love, 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 love." What else is in the teachings of Peaches? Wouldn't you like to know? We cannot stop progress, they say. I say, why not? Turn back the clock to a time of single-sex education. Women, girls in the kitchen, boys and men in the field. So on that talking Justin Bieber, those jeans are lowering the start count of an entire generation. Right? Oh, excuse me. Perhaps if Peaches spent less time showing it off to all of God-fearing America and a little more time in the kitchen, she'd have herself a husband by now, and maybe a nice car. There is now, as we are speaking here tonight, a movement to de-gender language by creating neutral gender pronouns such as Z, Zir, here. Well, hear this. Language cannot simply be invented. We must repudiate this movement. We must repudiate the unfounded paradigmatic shift. We must not misunderestimate the power of a few confused voices when they raise themselves up in unison. We, in this World Wide Web world, we must use their tools against them. We must not stop at Facebook. Oh no. I suggest, nay, I demand, tabs on delineating sex on every Quizzilla survey, every online bill pay, every checkout screen at Kohl's. We must lay to rest this concept of unisex. We must acknowledge there are men's crew necks, and there are women's boat necks, and there is no middle ground. American gender presentation and save America for your children, not mine. I need my own. But whether it is the inspiring or the cautionary tale of Knocked Up or the inspiring epic of 27 dresses, you too can transformate your life. If this independent study is not enough for you, fortunately I am available for normalization consultation for the women. As for the men, do you really want to know to help you? To you men, to you I say, bootstraps men, bootstraps. That one's going to go over better. Do this today. Do it like you mean it. The very fate of humanity is resting on your shoulders. Thank you.
What we talk about when we talk about love. Over the course of my life, there was a lot of chronic illness. As I grew up sitting in waiting rooms, I also realized that I was waiting for something in my own identity. What we talk about when we talk about love is about the things my family was willing to talk about and engage with. It's easier to talk about hospital sippy cups and green jello than to talk about the emotional content of what's actually happening. The same was true for me early in my transition from female to male. It was much easier for me to talk about buying a binder, but much harder to describe how much those things changed my outlook about myself and my ability to be present in the world. This piece is a timeline, a catalog, and a nod to waiting, to speaking, and to silences.